85 to 90. Showers and thunderstorms overnight near 70, mostly cloudy. The chance of showers and thunderstorms will continue Sunday and Sunday night, probably increasing to a 60-70% coverage. And the high Sunday with spotty sunshine near 85 degrees. Educating, entertaining, and empowering Jonesboro, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Priscilla Huff. The White House cannot explain whether President Trump believes humans impact climate change, while the EU, China, and India continue to vow to reduce emissions. The United Nations Security Council has voted unanimously to approve a resolution imposing sanctions on 15 North Koreans. The Rock am Ring Festival in Western Germany has been evacuated due to a terror threat. Leo Varadkar is set to become the first gay Prime Minister of Ireland.
It's 12:01.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for our Thoughts on the Matter, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro community. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters, donors, or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM. Good afternoon to you on your Saturday. It's June 3rd, 2017. This is our Thoughts on the Matter. Cato Wonder is in the studio with you. I'm joined by Mrs. Norma Farrell, Mrs. Amanda Donovan, and Mr. Brad Dow, your panelists for today. And we've got a couple topics we're going to get into today, but before we get into our program, we want to make a quick announcement. There is currently a cookout going on now on the north side of town on 601 Marshall Street, and it's being brought to you by New Life Empowerment Ministries. And I'll be there right after we get off the air. They got a bouncy house out there for the kids, and they got food, just doing a little something in the community. So New Life Empowerment Ministries cookout, 601 Marshall Street in Jonesboro, going down until 2 o'clock. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into our program. Our first topic is automatic voter registration. And the way this came about is I'm looking at this article from the Huffington Post, and it's talking about the Illinois State Legislature has unanimously approved a bill that would automatically register eligible voters throughout the state. If the bill is signed into law, Illinois will become the 9th state plus the District of Columbia to pass automatic voter registration reform. So what I'm going to ask the panelists now is, what are your thoughts? Do you think Arkansas and even the United States as a whole should go to automatic voter registrations?
Well, my honest opinion, I think it's wonderful. But I've talked to some people that wants to reserve the right for them to make a decision. Me, myself, and I, it's automatic. You don't have to vote if you don't want to. I mean, I was one of those. It's very special in my family to be at the age to go. It's a big ordeal to vote for the first time and get registered, you know,
Get registered.
Right, I can't talk this morning. I'm sorry. My nose is all stopped up, but I think it'll save paperwork, you know, time, hassle, you know, question whether or not. I mean, if you always have a problem whether or not you're registered, you can contact the county clerk, and ours is Kate Holiday for Craighead County. But in my honest opinion, I think it's a good ordeal.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that. I think it'd be a very great thing to happen, personally, because you know, there's too many times that we hear about what people talk about. I don't like who's in office, or I don't like these things that happen, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. But then you ask them, did you go vote? And usually the first answer is no. Well, why not? And there's really no answer other than I just didn't vote. Well, I mean, yeah, be registered. If you don't want to vote, don't vote. But it is your right. I mean, it is I would consider it your responsibility to go vote, to be involved, and that way you have some form of say in what goes on.
And I just want to add to that, no matter where you fall on your political spectrum, whether you are a liberal, moderate, or conservative, you should still want to have a say in who makes decisions for you, because I feel like when you don't, then you're pretty much saying, well, I'm going to let somebody else make that decision for me. And again, this is independent of where you may fall ideologically on your beliefs.
Well, I feel like it's a privilege to have the right to vote. Because I am an African American, my race has fought for this, for me to have this privilege. I've been voting since I was 18 years old, and I feel like it's a privilege, and you have that right if you want it, and you have a say. Like he said, if you don't vote, then you don't worry about it. If you vote, then you have a right of putting somebody in office, of what you believe in and what you think.
I guess I would ask for people that, I mean, if you've read any articles, for those that say they don't agree with it, what has been the general reasonings of why people say they don't want something like this to happen?
Well, I haven't seen anything in the article, but I know when we had our group text planning the show, and of course from Amanda actually posted on her personal Facebook page, I asked some of her friends about it, and one of the things was, and we've discussed this, was a fear of being called into jury duty, which I didn't quite understand, and I said this in the group text and I'll say it on the air. I mean, I was called to jury duty one time. It was for a case who was actually involving a supervisor at an old job, and I pretty much knew that I wasn't going to get called on the case, but I still let my employer know that I needed the day off for jury duty, and they gave me the day off. It didn't count against me because they have to let you off for jury duty. They called my name and they said, well, what do you know about this case? I said, well, I used to work for the defendant. They said, okay, you're free to go. Even if you do actually have to serve on a trial, if you've been to court, for a speeding ticket or whatever, you probably observe some of the trials. Most trials are very short, like an hour or two. It's pretty much cut and dry. It's not like you're having to give up days and weeks of your life. That's like more the exception than the norm. But that could also be speaking to how our society through TV has distorted what actually is. So I guess that's kind of my thought on that. Of course, we'll bring Amanda in to kind of chip in, since it was some of her friends that originally brought up the comments.
Well, most of them, they're like me. They totally agree. This is not forcing people to vote. It's just giving them, like when you're 18 years old and you get a driver's license. Anytime you go into a state facility or Craighead County, facility like that, when they ask you if you want to be registered to vote, instead of them asking you, you're automatically done.
Well, I'm gonna jump in on this. I'm like, we were saying is people think that if they are registered to vote, then they're automatically part of jury duty. Or if they don't register to vote, they are not eligible. Well, I want to set this one straight. I actually did a little bit more research, and I knew the answer, but I wanted to make sure I was correct on it.
I checked too.
If you are not registered to vote, that does not omit you from jury duty. It does not. If you have a driver's license, if you have a government-issued ID, if you are in the system of any sorts in government identification, you are in the pool
for jury
duty. It goes through all those systems, and you are then eligible. So if you are trying to skip jury duty for not registering to vote, you are
You're gonna be out of luck.
You are misinformed. So
if you got a Social Security number, you basically can get caught in jury duty.
And you know what? I want to jump on that. I'm happy you said that. So if there are those that are saying, well, I don't want to be automatically registered to vote, well, you're automatically given a Social Security number. Are you going to be upset about that? No, because you're probably going to get benefits at some point in time in your life from Social Security.
Well, and plus you have to use it to apply for just about anything, job, college, or
everybody jumps on, like we all say that getting a driver's license for a lot of people is a rite of passage.
Yes.
It is. I mean, and that's kind of what we teach. Well, why can't that be the same thing with being registered to vote?
See, that's how it is in my family. It's a big ordeal. Like, we have a fancy supper. I mean, it's a big ordeal, vote, to register to vote and the first time to vote.
So
when I started to vote, like I said, at the age of 18, I couldn't wait because that was a privilege and something, a right that I wanted to know, about who's running for this, president or my local mayor or whatever. And I felt like that was a part of me becoming a citizen, So it was a big deal.
It may be one of the things to think about it is, if you've been involved with any form of voting behavior, how many people have gotten down there and they're wanting to vote and they realize they're not registered.
And you had to be registered X amount of days before the election in order to vote.
I 100% promise you, mark my words. If someone
we got some interesting Facebook comments. I think that's going to add to our discussion. And by the way, if you want to weigh in, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080. You can also leave your questions and your comments on our Facebook live stream, and I'm going to get into a couple as well. Becky McAdoo says only if you have to show ID, and Mark Pillow says, what did you think about Saturday elections?
Let's talk about the ID part first.
I totally
If you are a registered voter, it is only required for the very, very first time you vote. After that, you do not have to show ID to vote, and that is another big miscommunication and misconception about voting laws. So they only do that the very first time to verify who you are. After that, you don't have to show ID.
Well, I totally agree with the let's pull the ID every time you vote. I mean, you got to have this.
I'm neither for nor against.
I'm for it.
Well, the thing about the IDs is, and of course we could probably do a whole show on just voter ID, but you do have, and I'm gonna give it, and this is gonna tie this well. I was gonna just say a few minutes ago, the way that I got exposed to voting was through my grandmother. My grandmother was an elderly lady with a 3rd grade education, so she could barely read or write. So she would take me to the poll with her and have me to read the ballot to her, and I would tell her who's running, and then she would tell me who to mark. So I was exposed to it at a very early age. But because my grandmother was elderly, without education, didn't drive anything, she didn't have an ID. And now, of course, we could probably got her one because, you know, somebody could have taken and provided the information. But even then, with people that old, sometimes it's harder to provide the necessary documentation to get an ID. But, you know, there might be some elderly people who may like live in a nursing home, may not have any family available, that may find it difficult to get ID. So if we're going to insist that we have an ID, we need to make sure that it's easy as possible for people to get those IDs, that there's no money requirements, no barriers. It should be, and maybe we're talking about automatic voter registration. Maybe we need to figure out some kind of system to have automatic identification as well.
Yes. I agree.
No, yeah, I mean, you know, some of those rules that are talking about the IDs of voters and everything like that, it always comes down to, if there is ever an issue, usually the first thing that ever comes up is, well, so-and-so voted and that's not even a real person, or this
they
and
voted
that.
twice.
And
Something.
yeah, I mean, there's that always comes up when there's a discrepancy in voting. And is there an issue with having people truly say this is me and to keep things on the level?
Well, from what I've always read, is like, you know, when you bring up the issue of voter fraud, it's more like a problem and I think a solution. Well, basically, I can't think of the right term, but the instances of it are like statistically so low. It's
Right.
like,
No, I agree.
I guess like taking a bulldozer to something that you could probably just solve with a hammer.
I guess let me rephrase my comment then. If you were to do things like that, why not go ahead and rule out all issues? And that would be a way to go ahead and just rule that out completely. Why not put everybody on the same playing field?
And Becky McAdoo says it should be every time for it. It only makes sense. Mark also says, how about a new tradition of like offering health checks in a tent offsite the polling places, some other community-minded incentive?
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea. I mean, it draws people for not just one entire reason.
Well, go ahead, Brad.
Well, I mean, he also mentioned, you know, how about Saturday voting?
Yeah, good, because I want to make sure we address that.
I think that would be really good. Actually, surprisingly, the U.S. is one of the few countries in the world where people do not get off. No, they don't actually get off work. There's a lot of countries that will actually make those voting days actual considered work holidays. So people are off work and they can go vote.
Well, I don't know about that Saturday because a lot of people, that Saturdays are very important to
In early voting, though, the polls are open on Saturdays, so that actually does already occur. You just need to pay attention to the days.
Well, one thing I think that we definitely should do is, I'm in favor of making Election Day a national holiday.
And that's what I was mentioning. There are a lot of countries that do that. I mean, it is actually sponsored by the government to allow you to then go express your rights as a voter.
And I do know that certain employers will let you off if you let them know ahead of time. Like me, like when I did work. And when you work 7 to 5, and if you let them know before your shift, hey, because I didn't get a lunch break, hey, I'm going to go vote, they'll allow you to go vote. They'll make arrangements.
I'm going to throw a cog in the wheel here.
Okay.
If they did make voter registration automatic, would people be more okay with it if they got the day off of work to go do it?
I would certainly hope so. I mean, I
Woohoo!
can't. Well,
That
I mean,
must
I don't.
certainly help with
Well, I
voting.
mean, I don't need motivation to vote. I be honest with you, I tell people I don't even know where my normal polling place is because whenever they do early voting, I'm usually there the first day. So so if you ask me what's your polling location, I couldn't even tell you because I always just do the early voting. But I would certainly hope that people would be motivated to vote. I mean, again, I'm gonna just use the past 2 administrations as an example because I try to keep my thoughts balanced. When we had the Obama administration, there was a large swath of the country that were against his policies. Well, now we're in the Trump administration, we have another swath that are against his policies. So, if nothing else, your motivation should be that, again, keep bringing it back to the people that you want to lead and represent you being in office, and that's what your vote is for, to help ensure that whoever it is that you want, whether they're on this side or that side, representing you.
See, my thought is your vote is your voice. If you do not vote, you have no voice. That's just how it is. If you don't vote, then why are you criticizing? Because you had an opportunity to vote and have your vote count, whether it be third party or, the big 2, which is the Democrats and the Republicans.
Well, our Facebook live stream is jumping once again. My phone is freezing up, but Please will be getting these comments. Becky also says yes, and the day after the Super Bowl. That might be a good one as well.
National
make
Hangover
that holiday.
Holiday.
Oh, okay. And Mark also says, I like that state or national holiday. What better way to celebrate our rights than a MLK type voting day? And Becky was asking, most employers let you go off to vote? Well, I guess it depends on the employer.
Yeah, it really does.
Voting is a thing. It's like a way of life with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you say. Well, we'll give you $100 to vote. You got people that don't want that $100 because they're not going to vote. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. I've been doing it, and I'll repeat this again, since I was 18. I have never, to my knowledge or remember, missed an opportunity. So it's a way of life with me.
Yes.
But a lot of people, they may do it, they may not. It just depends.
And one other part about it is, and I really like looking at a lot of numbers and things like that, and I think it would truly give us a representation of, at that point, how many people truly vote and don't vote. I mean, you would actually get a more accurate count and pool of your statistics.
Well, right now the statistics aren't that good. Becky McAdoo also says, and my phone keeps freezing up, apologize for that, listeners. She says, I don't believe all of our votes count, ? It's our duty as Americans.
If you voted, it's been counted. So
right.
Your vote does count.
Well, I'm wondering if
it's that simple.
Well, I'm wondering if she may mean like the situation like with the Electoral College. Now within the past, since the beginning of this millennium, we've had 2 presidential elections where the winner of the popular vote did not actually become the president. Of course, this is the system that we do have in place, and there were some people that felt because and maybe because they didn't understand how the Electoral College worked, that they felt it was just a waste of time. Oh yes, and that's what Becky was talking about. Well, Becky, unfortunately, the only thing I can tell you, well, I kind of give a little quick background as we get ready to wind down this segment. The Electoral College was created because it was kind of like a compromise, because the framers, some of them wanted people to directly pick the president. There were others that felt that the people shouldn't have that much say. And so this was kind of like a compromise. And there was also compromise between northern states and southern states, because there were southern states that had fear that the northern states would have too much influence on them. So that's how the Electoral College came about in its current form. But that might be something we may need to revisit.
Well, there's also there's deep-seated roots in groupthink when you start looking at the difference between popular vote and electoral college. If you went strictly by your popular vote, it really and truly would break down to about 5 major cities in the U.S. that picked your president. I mean, and do you want 5 major cities across the U.S. at that point picking who rules your country, or do you want an accurate representation of across the board? And that's really the reason why the Electoral College is there. I mean, it was designed over 200 years ago by, honestly, some pretty brilliant people that foresaw the growth of a nation.
Thank you that my family was there.
And really, that is, if you were to look at heat maps of voting numbers, your populist vote, your group think, would really break down to about 5 major cities in the U.S. that picked your outcome of every election.
But then again, when you're dealing with electoral college, all you got to do is win certain states and it's done and over with.
It's true.
Well, that's how the last one. That's how our president became the president.
Yeah, I know.
On the electoral college.
All right, we got Brother Cobbs. He's pulled up his mic. You want to weigh in on this?
Well, the electoral college was also there to help some of the people, like
Brad.
Brother Dow.
Brother Brad was saying. It's just that because you'll get more broader representation than you would if you just had to popular vote. Because popular vote would also means that, like you said, the 5 major cities may do it. But a lot of people don't understand the electoral college. But how did they win? How did they know? It's electoral college. That's the one who, if you want to know who does what, go out and, I don't know if y'all said, go out and vote. Go out and check into it. I mean, the electoral college is what wins the presidency.
And actually, believe it or not, your electoral college is designed to actually help the underrepresented classes because, again, groupthink would overpower every single outcome of your elections every time.
All right, you tuned to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We are talking about, actually we started with automatic voter registration, but as always our panel kind of goes in various different directions, but it's all good because it is all related to the topic. And of course, if you want to weigh in, you can give us a...
I actually want to say, I mean, those are actually some of the best questions we've gotten from the public. I actually really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you guys for weighing in on that. Appreciate it.
Well, we hope that they'll stick around because when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about President Trump's decision to pull out of the Paris Climate Accord. This is actually something that's very interesting because basically when he made this decision, a various wide constituency of people actually came out against it. People who normally would probably support some of the things that President Trump would do. When we come back, we'll talk about it. This is Our Thoughts on the Matter, and this is KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
This is Leo with your KLEK Learn Spanish Minute. All right, Kato, and today we'll talk about something that, you know, I'm Argentinian, right?
Now I know.
All right. So, you know, in Argentina, we value friendship a lot. You know how we say friendship?
And how do you say it?
Amistad.
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 There you go. And you know how I call you, my friend?
Amistad.
No, I call you amigo.
Amigo.
There you go. We in Argentina, we have lots of amigos, and it's good to learn a little bit about culture too. We even celebrate the Dia del Amigo.
All right, say it again.
Dia del Amigo.
Dia del Amigo.
That's the Friends Day. You know, like we have Valentine's Day here for couples?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we also have the Dia del Amigo to celebrate our Friends Day.
All right, that's pretty cool.
You know how we say when we finish the Friends Day and when we get a meal together?
And how do you say that?
We say salud.
Salud.
That's kind of cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. I am Leo, and this was your KLEK Learn Spanish Minute.
Hello, this is your girl Allie J, and I want everyone to join me for Kick It With a Cancer. My birthday bash going down June 23rd at Legends Barbecue Smokehouse, 1025 West Johnson Avenue, across from Riceland Foods in Jonesboro. This party is going to be an all-ages affair from 7 to 10 o'clock p.m., and I'm letting all cancers in free until 8:30 p.m. with ID. Music by DJ Mr. Chew. To celebrate my birthday, I'm going to make it easy on your pockets, too. Just $5 to get in for adults, $3 if you're 13 and 17, and kids 12 and under get in free. I told you it's an all-ages family affair, and you know you want to be there, right? And just because it's my birthday, I'm giving away presents to some lucky guests. So come kick it with a cancer June 23rd at Legends Barbecue Smokehouse, 1025 West Johnson Avenue from 7 to 10 p.m. This is a KLEK fundraiser.
Support for KLEK is brought to you by
Fullness of Joy Ministries, 2120 Thorn Street, Jonesboro, under the direction of Bishop Adrian Rogers and co-pastor Susan Rogers. www.fjministries.org.
And now back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM with our panelists, Mrs. Norma Farrell, Mrs. Amanda Donovan, Brother Cobbs, and Mr. Brad Dow. And now we're going to get into another topic that has garnered a lot of attention in the media. President Trump made his decision that he was going to withdraw the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord. The Paris Climate Accord was an agreement signed by every nation except Nicaragua and I believe it was one other. I can't think of it at the time. But pretty much everybody, when it was first signed by President Obama, signed except for 2 countries. But President Trump made the decision to withdraw the United States out. The agreement was non-binding. It was pretty much just the countries come together saying, we're going to try to work together to reduce greenhouse emissions and to prevent global warming. Once President Trump made the decision to withdraw from the accord, there was a lot of people who were opposed to it, and it was actually a strange bit of bedfellows. Several CEOs of different companies, including the CEOs of oil companies, disagreed with Trump's decision. There were several governors and several mayors of cities, including 2 cities so far in Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Helena, West Helena, Arkansas, that have signed letters or have issued statements saying that we're going to still work toward reducing greenhouse gases. And another point that I want to bring up before we open up the discussion is that a lot of industry has already started moving towards greener energy because they're starting to see the dollar signs, they're starting to see the profit in it. So even though President Trump has made the statement that the U.S. is not going to participate in it, it looks like as far as the private sector, and even President Obama said this, that this is still going to go on. So panel, what do you think?
Okay, could you explain what is the Paris?
Okay, well,
I read it, but maybe.
Well, Brad, you want to do it, or you want me to?
I mean, in short, your Paris Climate Commission is it is the government's coming together to make strong, conscious efforts to, as again said, to lower the carbon footprint, the emissions, greenhouse gases, climate control, climate change. Pretty much trying to go green, saying we are going to put an initiative forward to do what we can to be green and to help our climate, to keep our world in a better state. And it's kind of a short.
And it involves doing things such as cutting greenhouse gases, which is, greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, stuff that's produced by burning fossil fuels such as gasoline, natural gas, coal, things of that nature, and also more adoption of alternative energy such as wind power, solar power, and any other alternative technologies.
To adopt all this here, how expensive is all this here going to be? And we're used to this here gasoline and the wind power and the wind times and all that's expensive to change. Do you get better gas mileage, or do you get better, when you change into all this here? I can't see it. I know it's going to take, it might not even be in my lifetime, but that's a big, expensive change.
Well, we're already starting to move in that direction. Maybe not down here, but in other countries around the world, when I was looking at different articles.
New York, California, look at the cars and stuff they have on the road.
Well, Brother Cobbs, I was getting into like China, and of course, China has over 1 billion people, and China, India, and these other countries who have billions of people are making strides to convert to energy.
I'm going to let you talk first, because I have some interesting viewpoints on this. So.
Well, in my honest opinion, I think it's a duty for us to take care of our Earth. We only got one. I know we're going to have greenhouse gases. We're going to try to, go places. I'm one of the world's worst about hopping in the car and going somewhere. But on the other hand, I recycle. I try to make sure and plant trees. Trees help with the carbon dioxide. lessen the footprint of yourself. I mean, yes, should this be national? Do we need to pay in for somebody else? No. But
Well,
we need...
on that, Amanda, actually, somebody actually, because I think under the agreement the U.S. was going to contribute $15 million toward the fund, and somebody actually, once President Trump pulled out, actually donated the $15 million fee.
I believe that was Elon Musk, if I remember correctly, because I know Elon Musk was, of course, Tesla. That is the founder of Tesla.
And he's
everybody
very
knows Tesla.
big and green.
And he actually quit his White House advisory position as soon as Trump said we were not doing this. So
because we need to lower our footprint.
Sure that this would help with the health of the people, you know, eliminating a lot of this carbon dioxide and just different things. It would, but probably would help with the longevity of breathing and living.
Well, let me give you guys a little bit more background as to why we've gotten to this point. Scientists basically said, and I can't remember the year, but I think it's within the next 50 to 100 years that if the average temperature on the planet rises by 2 degrees Celsius, that it will be catastrophic. I mean, there'll be widespread flooding on the coast of every continent. There will be intense storms that will spurn tornadoes and hurricanes, and basically it'll be like very hot, and then even there'll be unintended consequences beyond that, because as it heats up, you know, they're gonna rise more to diseases, and crops are not going to grow, and that's going to lead to famine. And
so I'm sitting up here jumping at the bit to talk.
All right,
I've got some views, and I would like everybody else to kind of chime in on this. So I am very pro for this, and I'm very against this in multiple ways, and I'll tell you why. You know, as Legans was saying, you know, everybody knows about the Arctic shelf, and everybody talks about the polar ice caps and the way the oceans have risen and the polar ice shelves have decreased, and that is, of course, by climate. You cannot ignore that. Now, the Earth thus goes through its natural phases of this, but there is something we as humans and individuals can do to help reduce this. So, am I for, yes, greenhouse emissions being reduced? Most definitely. I mean, there's alternative forms of energy that have been proven and are on the rise. Brother Kyle was talking about other major cities across the U.S. Yes. You know, China, Hong Kong. If you look at Hong Kong, I mean, there are images you can see on a daily basis that looks like fog, and that's not fog.
It's smog.
That is smog. And we are very lucky in the U.S. not have that, but our West Coast does get impacted by that daily.
L.A. is awful.
You know, you talk about the gray moving in the morning. You know, there's songs about it. I mean, that's how important it is.
It's not as bad as it was, but it's still
I am all for, you know, the U.S. being a player in this. Now, on the flip side, and even though I don't 100% agree with Trump saying that, yes, we should pull out, I think we should still have our hands in this as a country. But how much do you want the government to control what you do? I mean, is it the government's responsibility to tell us we have to do this, or should we take it upon ourselves to actually be players in this? And it's awesome that we have cities in Arkansas already stepping up. Little old Arkansas, but the Delta does billions upon billions of dollars of crop transport every year.
Rice is one of your main ones.
Right. And again, I'm not going to 100% defend his standpoint, but it is also, again, I want you to think of yourself as an individual, whether you are left, right, in the middle. Do you want your government in the hand of your everyday life? There are people that want government, you know, groups to fund them, to pay them, to give them money to live daily, but do you also want them to tell you how to handle your daily? No.
Now, does that also apply to social issues as well? And we could probably get to
right,
and
exactly.
then we go into a whole nother direction.
And I'm gonna say this, and then you can ponder on this. If you say no, I do not want the government to be in control of everything, that is a very conservative belief.
Yes.
And Trump is a conservative, so I am actually, to an extent, I acknowledge that he is standing by his conservative values, saying the government does not have to have control of everything.
Well, is that communism where the government controls?
There's different levels of that, but it is a conservative value to not have the government in control of everything and actually let your individual governing bodies make your own decisions. And I think that's probably what should happen.
Local, state.
You know,
but
Arkansas already being a voice and a player in this says that we are actually embracing what we do, and we are making judgment calls for our local area that affect us, and I think that's very important to see happen.
Okay, and once again on this Paris Climate Accord, this was a voluntary agreement, so the government wouldn't have couldn't have imposed or mandated anything in regards to this. This was just basically, we are going to work toward it. Now the government has made some steps, such as mandating emission standards for vehicles, and there's been some other EPA regulations, which some of them President Trump has rolled back already.
And we're talking about carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. We need to pay attention to our trees, including the rainforest, because without trees, they're the ones that takes the carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen in the first place.
Let me ask you this. I know he did say that as the U.S. we were not part of the Paris Climate Control, but was it actually ever said that we would not be impactful and players in world climate? I don't think that was actually stated.
From what I remember, President Trump said that it was his desire to pull out and try to renegotiate.
Right, so does that mean no, or does that mean we're still the options are on the table?
In some ways we really don't know, because it was asked to him, and it was also asked when Sean Spicer had his press conference, does President Trump believe in climate change? And they can never pin him down on the answer. So we don't even know how the president feels on the issue as a whole.
Right.
I mean, but like I said, that's what our colleges and stuff, our representatives in our House and our senators are for. What give him the right to just up and make that decision that we're going to pull out of something? It was already a law. I mean, there was already an ordinance set up. I mean, don't they have to go through a committee?
Because this was non-binding, Congress didn't have to approve it.
Right. I think it was just it was pretty much a round table what we're doing right now.
I guess you could say kind of like a handshake agreement, even though. Yeah,
we're kind of the group leaders, and we agree on this. We don't agree on this, but it wasn't anything that said he did not make a final call and say this is how it's going to be, and this is only how it's going to be.
I mean, that's the first time. This is the first time that I can see that he did this, because everything else is executive order. He just signed this how it's going to be.
Right, and there was nothing like that.
But that's how it's going to be when he get through with it.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody going against him, and then you go against him. Too many people go against him. What they going to do? Get mad. I ain't going to do it. Executive order.
Now,
I mean, that's how he works.
What I would like to see out of this potentially is, even though this has occurred, maybe we see somebody like Elon Musk or Zuckerberg or all the famous, billionaires out there that run these billion-dollar companies. Maybe they actually, as a private sector, as human beings and citizens with power, maybe they come forth and do more.
And
then it's funded by the private sector, not the government. The government funds it, and your tax dollars are affected.
And that may happen. I know from what I read, like internally, some of these companies take steps that they can to ensure that their carbon footprint is eliminated. Like one thing that Microsoft does, I read about, they have their own internal carbon tax.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I seen where since I used to work for General Electric, I seen where the CEO of General Electric is not agreeing with what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a big corporation.
Right, and maybe, just maybe, this is a push for some of these global companies to actually show we're going to take the initiative versus having to be told to. Mm-hmm. And maybe that ends up sparking more than the government trying to fund it, because again, everybody's already upset and over arms about Trump cutting funding to certain government,
well, then, do you think
options.
By you doing this here, not only just for this here, do you think this will give him a wake-up call, let him know that he can't do the things that he called?
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, we could very well see that. And I think that'd be great.
I'm not exactly sure about that, Brother Costa, because it seems like with the actions that President Trump has taken so far, his base has been pretty solidly behind it. I mean, pretty much.
But they're not behind him right now, though. I mean, they bias. I mean, it's kind of splitting.
Well, from what I've read, like the people who, like, maybe not the corporate supporters of Trump, but like far as a lot of your average ordinary Americans, pretty much who support him pretty much are in favor, kind of for reasons that, like Brad brought up, they hail this as a victory for, the government is not going to tell us what to do.
Right, and I really think that is part of what makes America amazing, is that we have private sectors that can still have an impact without being told by a government what they have to do or cannot do. And again, we might see a huge turn in our billion-dollar Fortune 500 industries actually making an impact.
Well,
But how many people?
Go ahead, Brother Cobbs.
How many people that's not a billionaire know about this?
It's worldwide
You know
news
what I'm
right
saying?
now.
It's worldwide news, but if you don't understand, if you didn't know it beforehand, you got a whole lot of catching up to do, and by the time you catch up, the decision is
already
be made.
Well, and then again, the impact on what you can do as a company or as an individual can be very small. I mean, simply recycling is an impact. Not burning open fossil fuels. I mean, things like that. Those are impacts that anybody can make. But on a global standpoint, these huge companies, they make a very, very large carbon footprint on the world. And believe it or not, I'm a Republican and I'm all for making this world a better place. So, hey.
And that's what it should be all about, no matter what side of the aisle you fall on, that you should want to make this country and this world a better place.
But people, unless you educate yourself on it and you really want to see and make a difference, you won't. That's like littering. People are littered because they just litter.
Yeah.
So you have to want it. You got to want the world to last. After I'm gone, we all are gone. The next generation, make it, as pleasant as best we can.
And believe it or not, I mean, there's been tons of things like that have happened even in my lifetime, and I think one of the most common ones that probably everybody can agree with, even Brother Cobb over here, is CFCs in hair care products. When they stop putting things out like that in your aerosols, I mean, that was a decision that they made as companies. And even just CFCs going off and burning off, I mean, that made a huge impact on our air qualities and things like that.
But it was too late.
Yeah,
it was
but
too late,
it eventually
it
did start turning back.
Now we are feeling the effects of that because look at the weather. The weather is just haywire, but a lot of it is because of aerosol.
Yeah, and they did that because of the ozone, and actually studies of the ozone have shown that it has started to completely repair itself in our lifetime. So things do change, but it's going to take time, and now is an impactful time to do it. And I'd love to see the private sector do it.
Oh yes, because it's expensive.
Because I think everybody at this table, and probably everybody listening, you want to pay more taxes to fund some government group to then make an impact? Probably not.
No.
No.
Tune to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We're talking about President Trump's decision to pull the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord. If you would like to weigh in, you give us a call at 870-277-1080. Once again, the phone number is 870-277-1080. You can also leave your questions and your comments on our Facebook live stream. Got a couple right here. Mark Pillow says, great segment, guys. Quabila Pink Jim Jones, hey Quabila, says the upfront may seem expensive, but the overall savings will be great. Energy can actually be stored to the point where most companies won't have an electric bill on a smaller scale. If a homeowner, it says Seymour. If a homeowner installs solar panels, they could store enough energy during sunlight hours to have energy to power their home through the night.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I got family members that have solar, and it's awesome.
Or you can just simply be like, turn your lights off when you're not using them.
Yeah. I mean, every little bit helps. Whether you think it's
automatic lights, once you walk in, they come on, and you leave out.
Oh, 3
or 4 seconds, they goes off.
You can ask my kids. I'm bad about that. Turn that light out. You ain't in there.
I don't turn the light on if I don't have
Well,
to.
That's
when
right.
I was a little girl, my daddy, it was a thing. I mean, you got, a good talking to. Turn the lights off. We didn't go around the house with all the lights on. If you were not in that room, you were not using it, they were off.
You go by some houses now, it's just lit up, as they say, like a Christmas tree. Every light in the house is on.
So I want to spur this. I want to put a challenge out to people. It's like, we're talking about how Trump pulled out and private sector is already stepping up. I mean, what can you do as an individual? Right. I mean, let's just say next week, by this time next week, what can you do?
It's simple.
It can start with each one of us.
Yes, it's very simple. Start to recycle. Turn the lights off. Save on water. I mean, recycle, it's not really that hard.
What's all those basic things we were
It's called
taught?
habit.
You know,
Yeah.
again,
It's called habit.
if you're not in the
It
room,
has to
turn it
become a
off.
habit of your lifestyle.
I mean, people, you know, it adds up. It's like the old saying, well, if you're brushing your teeth, you don't need to run the water when you're not using it. You know, things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, it's interesting the little things we can all do, and this is exactly what we're talking about.
I do it every day, even out in my park. Me and my family and my renters, we're totally upcycle people. We'll take something that's broken and turn it
Yeah.
into something, and that's another to reduce the footprint that we're here. It's landfills,
And-
chemicals.
And of course, to add to that, you know, at least with aluminum cans, you know, you can make a little money too.
Yeah.
Hey, can we turn the lights off in here? I mean, just no.
Well, well, I mean, we could, but I
We
mean,
could
that's
in the
not-
dark. We
that's
can
not-
talk
you
in
know.
the dark.
My mother was a recycler before she passed, and
But the lights will be off when we leave the studio.
There you go.
Yes.
she would always recycle cans. She did the paper, and I said, Mama, give me that can or give me that paper. She was always getting something from us and recycling.
Well, Miss Farrell, I'm going to pick on Brother Cobbs for a moment. Brother Cobbs, ever since he's been with KLEK, does his part to reduce the environment, because when Brother Cobbs comes in here and does Victory Praise Gospel, when I come in here, he has the lights off. He actually does his own air shift with the lights off. You're tuned to our thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, good,
We'll be back.
good.
This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
If you've been popping pills to ease your aching head, you could be making your problem worse. A rebound headache is a headache type that medical science says is caused by acute overuse of headache medications. That means taking headache meds more than 2 times per week or taking a higher dosage than the label indicates. With a rebound headache, your medications not only cease relieving pain, they also begin to cause it. Overusing or abusing medications is never a good idea. It increases the potential for serious side effects like drug poisoning, toxicity, or the rebound headache. Take medications only as prescribed, even over-the-counter ones. Don't abuse drugs by overusing them. Avoid the headache. I'm Alexis Comer for Black Health Now.
Black Health Now. Black Health Now is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
The key to making this station even better could be parked in your driveway right now. Donate your old car to us, you'll get a tax deduction, and we'll tow it away for free.
Go to klekfm.org for more information.
When a woman gives her all to her boyfriend, she is hopeful about the future. Marriage was in her future plans until she received some shocking news. Now, with her dreams shattered and life altered, she has to pick up the pieces and move forward. It was in this experience that she realized that love has no protection. KLEK 102.5 FM and Massey Productions presents the inspirational gospel stage play, Love Has No Protection, a story that will inspire you, renew and reaffirm your faith, featuring performers from all over Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. 7 p.m., Saturday, June 24th, at the Arkansas State University Student Union. Tickets are $10 in advance, $15 at the door, and can be purchased at KLEK, Cool Cuts, online at www.klekfm.org or by calling 870-277-1080. Bring the entire family Saturday, June 24th to the Arkansas State University Student Union to see Love Has No Protection, the inspirational gospel stage play, 7 p.m. This event is a KLEK fundraiser.
Just added a special 3 o'clock p.m. matinee show. That's right, now it's going to be 2 shows, 3 o'clock p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. The hit gospel stage play, Love Has No Protection, coming to the ASU Student Union Centennial Hall, June 24th. Don't miss it.
Hey, what's up, Jonesboro? This is Hezekiah Walker. I'm so blessed to be on the radio here at KLEK 102.5 FM. Join me for the Hezekiah Walker Show every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 o'clock a.m. right after Community Conversations, and every Wednesday night right after your local church Bible study at 8 o'clock p.m. Jonesboro, join me, Hezekiah Walker, and give every praise to our God on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Hezekiah Walker. It's the Hezekiah Walker Show.
And now back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK with our panelists, Mrs. Norma Farrell, Mrs. Amanda Donovan, Brother Cobbs, and Mr. Brad Dowd. And we've had a very spirited show today, had a lot of participation from you, the listeners, and we definitely appreciate that. We talked about automatic voter registration, we've talked climate change, and we've just had a good time. I think we may have one more Facebook comment. Ryan Boyd Anderson says, turn off the lights and light a candle. Well, Brother Boyd, we're not going to do that in the studio. You know all this electronics we got here. I can't.
I like his spirit, though.
But yes, I do that quite often.
All of us in here, brother Brad has somebody, so we need the lights. We don't need the candle. I know what he's trying to get to.
Turn off the light.
And light a candle.
Who's that, Teddy Pendergrass?
That's a very wide open.
Because that just happened on the air. That just happened on the air.
Well, you never know what you might get here at KLK 102.5 FM. So, let's just have at it. You know, we got about 8 minutes. Any other thoughts about any of the topics or about anything else going on in the news?
You know, I just want to leave it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, why don't you go first?
I want to know about this here. I mean, we said it, we're going to talk about it at one time, but what about this hotel situation, convocation center?
Well, the latest with that is the AMP meeting. They basically decided they're not going to do any more funding until there's significant completion of one of the centers. In other words, when one of the centers is almost ready to be open.
I think it's just 75% complete. I remember reading one of the articles. I think that's what it said.
None
of them have broken ground.
For either one.
Mm-hmm. They said it has to be in the final stages of completion before the AMP will put any money. And it's not such a bad idea.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's going on, if y'all hadn't seen it, going out...
North Patrick.
No, not North Patrick, going to, what is this? It's Johnson. Going to, like you're going to the hospital, by the college, where they're putting that live, work, and play.
Yeah, somebody was talking about that today at the shop.
I can't think of the name of it.
Big old ball things they can get in there and
play. Yeah, there's going to be a development there. Yeah, that they are clearing that out.
That is
how far they're going to go, I don't know, but they're really busy.
It is it's a game, or I guess a sport, where you are in a big inflatable
and it's
ball. And it is full contact. And
No, this is a
you talking about a development.
A development.
I thought we were talking about, you said that.
It's right across from ASU's... it's right in there with the
oh wait, so you talking about? You might be talking.
Are you talking about the circle?
The circle.
No. When you get to the stadium and you going.
Are you talking about those apartments right by University Loop?
No, it's further on down.
She's talking on Hilltop.
I'm talking about right
Greensboro Village.
That's what I'm talking about. They are developing Greensboro Village.
That's slow. They so slow.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be forever cleaning and cutting down trees, but they get ready. So that is a plus.
That's a plus.
I guess one thing I want to make sure everybody is, if you're going to take home anything from today's segment, keep in mind, if you're trying to dodge jury duty by not being registered voter, you're not going to do it. So go register to vote. Don't let that be your only excuse for not being a registered voter, please.
You was telling me this morning, Illinois is driving license. I think Arkansas is driving license too, isn't it?
You were in a pool of driver's license, voter registration.
No, I'm just saying, if you get your driver's license, you automatically register.
I was saying that was a talking point. Should Arkansas? What I was saying when I went to the shop, I was saying the state of Illinois has passed a law saying that they're going to this. So the topic was, should Arkansas do something like that?
And I thought Arkansas did, because every time I know people
get licensed, they'll ask you.
They get.
Now what you think about Cobbs? Well, I don't know about jury duty, but now what Arkansas has done is you can register to vote when you get your driver's license.
And
they have that option there, but it's not mandated.
And what we were mentioning is there are people that think if they don't register to vote, then they can dodge jury duty, and that's not the case. If you have a driver's license, if you are in, I believe, also Social Security Administration, which everybody is, there are certain pools of information where the counties will draw you for jury duty. So if you're in any of those buckets, you are part of the lottery to get drawn for jury duty. So not registering to vote will not keep you from being in the pool for jury duty.
And remember,
Just be self-employed.
It's a privilege to vote.
You got a driver's license. You're in the pool.
Exercise your rights.
That's right. Exercise and have a voice.
Have a voice.
Have a voice. And we only have one Earth. We need to take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if it's a little something you don't think is important, it's like my Mimi always said, you find a penny, pick it up, because every penny saved is $1 earned. And the same goes for our environment. Every little thing adds up.
Brother,
All right,
Brother
Brother
Brad
Boyd.
gave us a challenge. He said, we're going to turn lights off and do what? And recycle this week. We'll see what we can do.
Yep.
And turn the water off.
Brother Boyd says, good session, guys. He says, my question is, why is Jonesboro getting 2 convention centers? Now, I can understand the one getting put up on A-State campus, but why 2? Well, my answer is because somebody thought that they could build it and make some money.
We've asked
That's
the same
right.
question. That's actually
I
been an
think
opinion of
they'll
this
both
panel.
be used, though. I think
But if you-
A-State will take care of itself out there.
A-State will take care of itself.
And
but
the one
how-
for the city will take care of
But
itself.
how can you? I mean, A-State is mainly for A-State. I mean, they have the first priority. If someone needs something, A-State and 2 people coming to do something, A-State has the first priority. If they're going to be at A-State,
Well, I think
But
there's
see,
technically
in the
separate
city-
parts. There's going to be the A-State footprint of the school and the learning portion of it, but the convention center is still going to be ran by the Embassy Suites and that hotel group. It's not going to be complete controlled by ASU.
Yeah, ASU is leasing the land to them.
But I think that ASU, with a lot of stuff that goes on at ASU, they'll be using it.
Mm-hmm.
And the city people will probably use the new one.
There's a lot of events that go on at the Convocation Center that just are not tailored to the setup of the Convocation Center that will go into there. And that will probably open up more opportunities for things to happen at the Convo.
But I'm like, 2 at one time.
Yeah.
Well, again, welcome to capitalism. Basically,
they Field the Dream said if you build it, they'll come. We'll see.
I think they will.
In both cases, you had 2 developers who felt that they could make it work and make a profit, so they're going to launch it. And I guess, the market will bear out whether one or both succeeds or fails or whatever happens.
And people just don't go drop money like this on a whim. I mean, there has to be some form of research going to
Well,
justify
people
it.
are coming in here, things are being done. This is a growing, big, new city.
Yeah.
So you got people that's coming here and doing things. So they'll be both used, I think.
Yeah. And isn't the is it the Marriott or the Hyatt place still going to be built in front of the new hospital too?
Well, yeah,
Isn't that one is still in construction as well?
Yeah, it's under construction as we speak. Ryan chips in, says Jonesboro is not big enough for 2 convention centers. That's what I'm saying. Well,
hey, we agree. I think we've agreed on that topic. I think multiple times. Actually, I think we've all kind of said those exact same words, have we not?
Right.
No,
We've all been curious.
We hope for the best, but we sure expect the worst out
what
of
I'm
it.
thinking
It's not
about.
just Jonesboro, it's Northeast Arkansas. It's
Well,
more than Jonesboro gonna use
what I'm gonna
that.
say to you guys and to Ryan, I think what the developers are banking on, you keep hearing that Jonesboro is going to hit 100,000 within the next few years. I think they're thinking about the
Building for the
future,
future.
and because they're probably thinking if we have to take a loss for a couple years, but if we can just hold on and weather the storm, if we don't have a few good years in the beginning, once the population gets to a certain point and more stuff comes here, then it'll be worth it in the end.
And the surrounding cities will be used.
Right, surrounding cities.
I think that both would be used, and some smart people did something.
Yep.
Made a good choice.
So have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Any final comments, Brother Dial?
I just simply appreciate the community chiming in today. That's been great.
Yeah.
We really appreciate hearing your voice and asking questions.
And there's any faithful listeners to Victory Praise Gospel, I will be on the air tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock, 10 to 3. Victory and Praise with none other than Brother Cobbs. I wasn't there last week, Miss Farrell.
Yeah, George, he's listening. He missed you too. Along with others.
All right. Amanda?
Well, I enjoyed it. And thanks for everybody that's listening. I want to thank our underwriters, and y'all have a blessed and safe weekend.
Mrs. Farrell?
I just said, man, I missed Brother Cobbs. And George did too. And we'll be listening tomorrow.
Well, as always, I want to thank everyone for supporting KLEK and thank everyone for tuning in and listening. Don't forget, community cookout going on right now, 601 Marshall Street by New Life Empowerment Ministries Church. So they're going to have the bounce house out there. I'm about to head out that way. So hopefully you'll come join me out there, get some good food, have some fun with the kids going on until 2 o'clock. Thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in. And again, don't forget, check out my guy, for the Cops, tomorrow for Victory Praise Gospel. And may each and one of you have a great and blessed day. You listen to KLEK 102.5 FM.
Thank you for listening to our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro community. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters, donors, or sponsors.